Imagine if a single lesson could unlock a new way to see life, helping you overcome obstacles with confidence and guiding you toward unshakable strength. Today, we'll dive deep into the most powerful teaching of Jesus on the power of faith, an insight that could change the way you face challenges and transform every area of your life. This teaching holds a secret that has uplifted lives for centuries, revealing how true faith can move mountains, heal wounds, and open doors you never thought possible. Are you facing doubts, feeling stuck, or searching for a source of hope and direction? This video will guide you through what Jesus taught about having faith even when life feels uncertain. By the end, you'll not only understand this powerful lesson, but also learn practical steps to bring it into your own life for strength and clarity in any situation. If you're ready to let faith transform your life, give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Here, we explore the timeless wisdom of Jesus to help you grow and find guidance, purpose, and hope. Be part of a community seeking to live with faith and purpose every day. Faith begins where human certainty ends, in the places where we can't see the full picture, but are called to believe in it nonetheless. Jesus taught that true faith is not just believing in what we can see or control. It's trusting deeply, even when the outcome is hidden from us. He understood that true faith requires stepping into the unknown, surrendering our need for proof, and placing our confidence entirely in God's promises. This journey isn't easy, but it's a powerful invitation to let go of fear and trust in a higher purpose that we may not fully understand yet. Imagine walking through a dark tunnel, unsure of what lies on the other side. Faith is that inner voice assuring you to keep moving, to hold on to hope, and to believe that light awaits, even if you can't see it yet. Jesus consistently reminded his followers that faith without full understanding is still faith, and sometimes it's even stronger because it doesn't rely on immediate answers. He called this trust beyond sight, urging his followers to look past their immediate circumstances and believe in something greater. Throughout his teachings, Jesus revealed that faith is a foundation that shapes how we live, how we face trials, and how we grow spiritually. When we build our lives on faith, we aren't shaken by every hardship or obstacle. Instead, we find resilience. This resilience becomes a steady rock, a sense of peace that anchors us when everything else feels uncertain. Jesus' call to trust beyond sight was not just about getting through difficult times, but about truly transforming how we view our entire lives. Jesus often used parables to illustrate this kind of faith, one being the parable of the mustard seed. He told his followers that even faith as small as a mustard seed could move mountains. This wasn't about size or strength. It was about the heart's willingness to believe without doubting. Jesus knew that once we understand the foundation of faith, even the smallest glimmer of trust can create profound, life-changing results. In moments of darkness, that tiny seed of faith can grow into something unshakable, bringing us closer to God and giving us the courage to face the unknown. To fully grasp this foundation, think about how this trust beyond sight might apply in your own life. What would it mean to release your fears, to surrender the what-ifs, and to trust that something greater is at work? This foundation of faith isn't just a religious concept. It's an invitation to live with courage and hope, trusting that God is guiding each step. Jesus wanted us to build our lives on this type of faith, knowing that it would carry us through the hardest moments and help us see his hand at work, even when we can't yet see the outcome. Faith isn't just about belief. It's a force that can completely transform our lives. Jesus taught that faith, when truly embraced, has the power to reshape our hearts, minds, and actions. This kind of faith goes beyond words. It's a deep trust that fuels change, that pushes us to let go of the old and step into a new, more profound relationship with God. Jesus knew that when we activate true faith, it's as if we're opening ourselves to receive miracles, to grow stronger, and to find purpose beyond our struggles. Imagine feeling stuck, facing challenges that seem unmovable. Faith becomes the catalyst, the spark that starts to shift things in ways you couldn't anticipate. Jesus called his followers to a faith that wasn't passive or stagnant, but dynamic and alive. he knew that faith in God would empower them to overcome personal battles, to grow in love and forgiveness, and to break free from limitations that once held them back. Through faith, our weaknesses become strengths, our doubts transform into hope, and our fears are replaced by a courage that goes beyond our understanding. Jesus showed us, time and again, that transformation through faith is not only possible but promised to those who believe. Think of the countless people who came to him broken, lost, or in desperate need of healing. Each time, Jesus acknowledged their faith, and in that moment, their lives were forever changed. The woman who reached out to touch Jesus' garment, believing it would heal her, received not just physical healing, but a spiritual awakening. Her faith became the key to her transformation, opening a door to a new life that went beyond her initial need. Faith as a catalyst doesn't just stop at personal change, it influences everyone around us. When we live with strong, genuine faith, it radiates outward, encouraging others and bringing light to those who feel lost or hopeless. Jesus knew that faith would have a ripple effect, touching not only the person who believed, but also everyone in their path. This is why he called us to live boldly in faith, to be willing to step out and trust, even when we're unsure of where it will lead. Such faith becomes a powerful witness, showing others that transformation is possible for anyone who believes. Imagine the kind of life you could live if you fully embraced faith as Jesus taught. A life where each day you're open to growth, to God's work in your heart, and to the possibilities that lie beyond the challenges. Jesus didn't promise a life without hardship, but he did promise that faith would make us stronger, wiser, and more connected to God. When we allow faith to be our catalyst, we begin to see changes within us that we never thought possible, finding a new purpose, healing, and strength that transforms not only our lives, but also the lives of those around us. The Gospels are filled with powerful examples of people who dared to believe, each story showing how faith can shape our lives in ways we can't imagine. Jesus didn't just teach about faith, he showed us what it looks like in action. Each of these encounters reveals a unique lesson, demonstrating that faith, even when small or uncertain, has the power to transform. These stories aren't just ancient accounts, they're invitations for us to live with the same boldness, to trust God's power in our own lives. Consider the story of the centurion, a Roman officer whose faith left Jesus amazed. When the centurion approached Jesus, asking him to heal his servant, he said something profound. "Just say the word, and my servant will be healed." This man believed so deeply in Jesus' authority that he didn't even need to see him lay hands on the servant. Jesus marveled at this faith, saying he hadn't found such faith even in Israel. This moment shows that faith isn't about status, background, or proximity. It's about trust in God's power, even from afar. It's a reminder that our faith doesn't need grand gestures. It simply needs sincerity and belief in God's word. Then there's the story of the paralyzed man, whose friends were so determined to bring him to Jesus that they broke through the roof of a crowded house to reach him. When Jesus saw this display of faith, he not only healed the man physically, but forgave his sins. This story teaches us that faith isn't just personal, it can also be a shared strength, a force that drives us to help others experience God's love and healing. Sometimes our faith may be what inspires someone else to take a step closer to God. This story encourages us to ask, how willing are we to go beyond obstacles, not only for our own sake, but for those we care about? The woman with the issue of blood also demonstrates profound faith in action. She had suffered for years, seeking every remedy, only to find herself in worse condition. When she reached out to touch Jesus' cloak, she believed that even this small act would be enough to heal her. Her faith wasn't loud or visible. It was quiet, desperate, but unwavering. Jesus stopped, acknowledged her faith, and confirmed her healing. This story reminds us that even when we feel isolated or unworthy, faith is accessible to us. It's a whisper of hope that God hears, even in our quietest moments of desperation. Finally, we see the faith of blind Bartimaeus, who cried out to Jesus despite being told to keep quiet by the crowd. He refused to let anyone silence his call for mercy, and his persistence caught Jesus' attention. Bartimaeus' story reveals the courage that faith requires, the boldness to keep seeking, even when others try to discourage us. Jesus healed him, not just because he called out, but because he believed that Jesus could restore his sight. This example encourages us to be bold in our faith, to cry out and pursue God's help even when the world tries to silence us. These stories from the Gospels show that faith in action takes many forms: a humble request, a desperate reach, a bold cry, or a determined effort for someone else. Jesus honored each one, revealing that faith doesn't have to look the same for everyone. He responded to faith wherever he found it, reminding us that no act of faith is too small. These examples challenge us to ask ourselves, how can we activate our own faith today? What small step can we take, trusting that God will meet us there? The Gospels invite us to live out our faith, knowing that when we do, we're stepping into a powerful, transformative relationship with God. Doubt is something every believer faces at some point. Even those closest to Jesus struggled with it. But Jesus didn't condemn doubt. Instead, he met it with compassion and assurance, reminding his followers that faith isn't about never questioning, but about trusting in God's promises even when we don't fully understand. Overcoming doubt begins with accepting that Jesus knows our hearts and is patient with our struggles. He calls us to bring our doubts to him, promising to turn them into deeper faith. One of the most vivid examples of this is Peter's experience walking on water. When Peter saw Jesus walking toward him on the stormy sea, he dared to step out of the boat. For a moment, his faith was strong enough to do the impossible. But as the winds grew stronger, doubt crept in, and he began to sink. Even in his fear, he cried out, "Lord, save me." Jesus immediately reached out, pulling Peter up and gently asking, "Why did you doubt?" This moment wasn't a rebuke, but an invitation to understand that in every storm, Jesus is near, ready to lift us up. His presence assures us that we don't face life's trials alone. His hand is always there to catch us. Jesus also showed his compassion for doubt in his encounter with Thomas after the resurrection. Thomas, one of Jesus' disciples, struggled to believe that Jesus had risen until he could see and touch the wounds himself. Jesus didn't criticize Thomas for this need. Instead, he met him where he was, offering him the chance to touch and believe. Jesus understood that sometimes our faith needs a tangible sign, and he reassured Thomas, saying, "Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." This encounter reveals that Jesus understands our need for reassurance and meets us with patience, even when our faith falters. The story of the father who brought his possessed son to Jesus is another powerful example of overcoming doubt. When Jesus asked if he believed, the father cried out, "I do believe. Help my unbelief." This heartfelt plea wasn't perfect faith. It was a mixture of hope and hesitation. But Jesus didn't turn him away. He honored the man's honesty and healed his son. This shows us that Jesus values our willingness to believe, even when it's mixed with doubt. He is moved by our honesty, and he responds to our desire to grow in faith, even if we're still learning to overcome doubt. Embracing Jesus' assurance is about trusting that he welcomes our doubts and transforms them into strength. Jesus doesn't ask for flawless faith. He asks for a heart willing to believe, to reach out even when uncertainty clouds our vision. When we bring our doubts to him, he turns them into opportunities for growth, showing us that faith isn't about being fearless. It's about leaning into his promises and finding peace in his presence. Every time we choose to trust despite our doubts, we're building a stronger foundation, a faith that can withstand the storms of life. Jesus' response to doubt reminds us that he is the anchor for our souls. In our moments of fear, when we're unsure of the future or of God's plans, he invites us to hold on to his words, his promises, and his love. Embracing his assurance means recognizing that our faith journey will have struggles, but Jesus will always be there to guide us, strengthen us, and remind us that we are never alone. This assurance is the foundation that carries us forward, transforming our doubts into a deep, enduring faith that no storm can shake. Faith is not just a belief, it's a way of life, a daily choice to walk in trust and purpose. Jesus didn't call us to moments of faith only in times of need. He called us to live in faith every single day, letting it shape every action, decision, and relationship. Living faith daily means carrying his teachings into all we do, allowing his words to transform our hearts and guide us. It's in this daily commitment that we find true change and the strength to face life's challenges with hope and resilience. Consider how Jesus taught us to forgive even when it feels impossible. Daily faith challenges us to embrace this call, letting go of bitterness and choosing to forgive, even when our hearts resist. Forgiveness frees us from the chains of resentment, and Jesus knew that by practicing it, we open ourselves to a peace that can't be achieved any other way. Each time we forgive, we're living out the love Jesus taught, and we become a reflection of His grace to others. It's not easy, but this choice transforms us, helping us grow beyond our hurt and find true healing. Another way we live out faith daily is by serving others selflessly, as Jesus did. Jesus showed us that true greatness is found in humility and service. He washed His disciples' feet, fed the hungry, and healed the sick, showing that faith expresses itself in love and compassion. When we choose to help others, whether through small acts of kindness or meaningful sacrifices, we bring His teachings to life. Every act of service is a step of faith, an act of trust that God is working through us to touch others. This mindset transforms not only our perspective, but also the lives of those around us, allowing faith to ripple outward. Faith also calls us to seek God's guidance in all things, to make every decision with Him in mind. Jesus taught us to seek first the kingdom of God, meaning that our priorities should reflect His heart and His values. When we seek God's wisdom in our daily choices, we open our lives to His direction, trusting that He sees the bigger picture. This is where true transformation begins. Instead of being led by fear or impatience, we learn to wait, to listen, and to align our lives with His will. Each day, we have the opportunity to surrender our plans and let Him lead, finding purpose and peace in His guidance. Living faith daily also means cultivating gratitude, even in difficult circumstances. Jesus taught us to give thanks in all things, not just when life is easy, but also in our trials. Gratitude shifts our perspective from what's missing to what's given, opening our hearts to see God's blessings everywhere. Each time we choose gratitude, we're grounding ourselves in faith, trusting that God is working for our good, even when we can't see it. This practice transforms our outlook, bringing joy and contentment that the world can't offer. In the end, living faith daily is about surrendering to Jesus' teachings and letting them mold us. It's about waking up each day with a heart open to God, ready to forgive, to serve, to trust, and to give thanks. When we live this way, faith becomes more than a belief. It becomes the lens through which we see the world and ourselves. This daily choice transforms us from the inside out, helping us live with purpose, strength, and a love that reflects Jesus Himself. As we apply His teachings, we're not just living in faith, we're letting faith transform our lives in ways that bring us closer to God and to the life He's called us to lead. To live by faith is to allow Jesus' teachings to shape every part of our lives. Embracing His call to trust, forgive, and serve brings us closer to God's purpose, transforming us from within. May this journey of faith fill you with strength, hope, and love daily. Thank you for watching. If this video inspired you, please like, subscribe, and check out our next video for more powerful teachings.